All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, this is going to be the beginning of a new series that I'm going to start called Are You Dating a Liberal Black Woman? And really, it could be Are You Dating a Liberal Woman, period. But since my channel is geared towards the so-called black man, of course, for the most part, you brothers are going to be dating black women. And the vast majority of so-called black women are liberal. 95 to 98% plus of these black women are liberal. So the reason why I'm starting this series is because it's abundantly obvious to me, particularly based on a lot of the comments that I receive and a lot of the emails that I get, that a lot of you brothers don't know what's going on around you in regards to the type of woman that you're dealing with and how they should be classified. I did a couple of videos on this issue a long time ago in regards to how to tell the difference between a concubine and a wife. Number one, brothers, a liberal woman is just a concubine. That's all they're ever going to be at best. A liberal woman fits into one of two categories, either a cast off or a concubine. A liberal woman can never be a wife. What is a wife? When I use the term wife, I'm not talking about buying a ring and signing a marriage certificate and walking down the aisle and things of that nature. That's not a wife. All that is a corporate partner. A wife is somebody that you can count on. That's what it's about. A real woman, a real wife is a helpmeet. She provides support. When I say support, I'm not talking about financial support. Because as a man, you should at the very least be able to stand on your own too financially, at the very least. And that also is going to be part and parcel of this court case right here. Because as I tell you, brothers, in many of these court cases, they cover a myriad of the topics that I cover on this channel. And sometimes I just pick and choose what theme I'm going to use for certain court cases so that I can highlight those themes for certain brothers who may not have been taught anything when they were a child. Because that's the main issue with the so-called black man, is that he's not being taught anything. He's being raised in these matriarchal households and he's being sent to these Marxist schools. And all he's being taught about is female supremacy and homosexual and lesbian rights. That's all that the so-called black man is being indoctrinated with. But anyway, just to get back to this case right here and some of the tenets that are going to be covered in this video and this court case. This person here, her name is Crystal Johnson. And as we're going to see, she's a super liberal black female. But a lot of her fuckery is not going to get revealed because, as we're going to see, the defendant in the case, her quote unquote ex-boyfriend, is a fuck up. He's a brother who was never taught anything, and therefore he did not know how to respond to a lot of these problems when they arose. Because, to be quite frank with you, he created most of these problems with his bad decisions. And brothers, we all make bad decisions in life, but when we know better, we have to do better. That's what life is about. We know better, we do better. We make mistakes, we get back up, we do better to the best of our ability. None of us are perfect. All right? So anyway, they're going to talk about it and I'm going to chime in.
Plaintiff Crystal Johnson says she met the defendant when she was dating his friend, and eventually she and the defendant started dating. Crystal claims while together the defendant would lie and say he was going to work, but she would see him on her surveillance cameras at the house.
You know what that basically means, brothers? He had very little understanding of manhood because he put himself in the situation where he allowed a woman to support and provide for him. And I've stated this in other videos. We're all going to reach hard times in our life. Hopefully the Most High has someone there to help us who has a good heart and a sincere heart. And hopefully when we're in these bad positions, we have a good enough heart to understand that once we get back on our feet, that we honor and we reimburse the person that assisted us. And that's one of the main ways that we maintain our own manhood. You as a man, you get down on your luck and your woman is there to support you and lift you up. You have to show her that you're grateful for how she assisted you by reimbursing her for what she gave you when you were down and out. Even if she acts like she does not want to take it back, I guarantee you, she will respect you more, if for no other reason than the gesture of reimbursing her. But as a man, you must always be able to provide for yourself at the very least. And in a relationship with a woman, you always have to be ready, willing, and able to put your brick in when she needs you, because that's part of being a man. I'm not saying that you have to house a hoe and all that other shit, but you do have to be able to stand on your own 2 feet financially. If you cannot do that, then you should not be in a serious relationship at all. To be quite frank with you, you probably should not be in a relationship, period, if you cannot maintain your own. You have to be very careful because the woman, for the most part, is a bill. That's another bill. Whether she's a wife material woman or even a concubine. Unless you just got the broad coming over to your place and hitting you off. But still, overall, you have to focus on empowering yourself before you bring somebody else into your life. Because you bring someone else into your life and they might have issues that they're dealing with. And if you don't have your shit together, how are you going to help them? And moreover, how are you going to be able to discern and decipher if this is somebody who should maintain in your life, if you're going to bring somebody else into your life when you're not ready for that yet?
She's suing her ex for breach of contract. Defendant Reggie Hayden says while dating Crystal, she monitored his every move.
She monitored your every move because you were like a child to her. Once again, brothers, when you don't want to be treated like a child, you do not put the woman in a position to conduct herself like she's your mother. A lot of brothers put themselves in the position to allow a woman to become their proverbial mother. And that's why I state, especially for a lot of you cats that are growing up in a household with all that matriarchal energy and you're trying to get that off of you, and you're 17 and 18 and 19 years old, you should not move out from your mother's house into a place with your woman. Because you're going to be too accustomed to female dominance over you and female energy over you, and it's going to show. All right, it's going to show. A lot of you brothers should have your own place and live there by yourself. Understand how to budget yourself, how to pay your own rent or what have you, your own mortgage if you have a home, your own car note if you have a car, things of that nature. You have to learn how to fill out a check, how to balance your checkbook. All these things you have to understand before you establish a serious relationship with a woman. Because once you know how to do all those things, then you'll understand if somebody is an asset or liability. That's very important. A lot of brothers don't grasp that and they end up in bad situations like this dude right here. And they don't understand that they're dealing with a liberal woman. Why is that? Because they're a liberal man. All a liberal man is a mama's boy and a simp. That's all a liberal black man is.
And she constantly accused him of cheating. However, when Reggie went through Crystal's phone, he realized she was talking to other men, including her preacher.
Well, what do you expect? The woman is going to gravitate towards other men when she does not respect your manhood, number one. That's number one. Number two, you're dealing with a liberal woman. The liberal black woman, the liberal woman, period, always has a roving eye. And of course, as many of you brothers that pay attention might know, for many of these liberal black women that go to church, they are going to be drawn to their preacher because the preacher is viewed as a fountain of wisdom and knowledge. So that's why it's important for each and every brother to have their knowledge game up. That's why I focus my videos and my channel towards the so-called black man. Because you're the one who should be teaching your woman. That's how you develop a closer relationship and a better bond with your woman, where she can turn to you for spiritual and societal questions. So that the woman knows that you're more than just a piece of rod. It's very important. Because if not, her eyes are going to start to rove towards other men who she thinks has knowledge and wisdom.
He's countersuing for emotional distress.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Stop. You will give me some background.
Okay, Your Honor. I met him in November of 2016. I was dating his, they ain't friends no more, but they was friends back then.
No, they were never friends. Now, brothers, did you hear that? She stated that originally she was dating his quote-unquote friend. So that means that the defendant decided that he was going to initiate a relationship with his former friend's quote-unquote girlfriend. That's something that you never ever do. There are far too many females out here in this society, and the vast majority of them are nothing but harlots. It's not worth taking your former friend's so-called girlfriend, basically going and rummaging through his trash can and trying to find what you can salvage for yourself. That's all that you did. That's all that you did. And I guarantee you the energy behind that and the quote-unquote karma behind that is very bad. Very bad. Because if it didn't work out with that female and your friend, and one would think that the reason why you're friends with that person in the first place is because you have certain things in common and your personality types are very copacetic. So why would you think that it will work out with you and your friend's ex if it did not work out with your friend and that female? And once again, there are so many females out here. There's no reason why you should be trying to develop anything romantic with your friend's former flame. It's just not going to be worth it in the long run.
And so,
Before you start dating him?
yeah.
Or at the same time?
Yeah, he was the only friend I would let come to the house.
Yeah, you let him come, all right. She said, he's the only friend that I will let come to the house. You damn sure let him come. Once again, brothers, when you're dealing with these females, you should always try to keep your quote-unquote romantic life separate from the other aspects of your life. It's very rare that you're going to meet a real friend in this life. Okay? Very rare. So you have to learn the people that you're dealing with in these different spheres of life, whether they call themselves your quote-unquote friend or whether they call themselves your quote-unquote girlfriend. You have to learn these people very well, because the vast majority of people in this society are very capricious, they're very whimsical, and they'll say anything to justify their whimsical actions. People are always trying to figure out how come things are not going well for them in their life is because they have no discipline. They don't know how to say no. And let me say this, so-called black man, one of the main reasons why you're so disdained is because you have all these blessings and all these gifts and all these abilities. But one thing the so-called black man is known for not having is the ability to say no. And I'm not just talking about sexually, I'm just talking about in general. Brothers have to live their lives with far more discretion. We all do. And you'll see how a lot of the problems that we have, a lot of the silly problems that we tend to have will go away. And the major no-no is dealing with your friend's former flame. That's the bottom line. Because she was eyeing him from the start. So when you intermix those two worlds of friends and who you're quote-unquote dating, the only thing that you're doing is you're introducing more chaos into your life.
But I ain't trusting other friends. But no, wasn't nothing going on like then,
But you were thinking about it back then. You was thinking about it back then. Because once again, brothers, the core nature, the core dynamic between the man and the woman is going to be romantic. You see many of these females today, they try to act like they have all these platonic male friends, or they want to engage in these quote-unquote platonic conversations with random men over the internet. Why is that? Because once again, boredom is one of the main galvanizing forces of the woman, who in her essential nature is an agent of chaos. They just are. People might not like me saying that. I don't give a damn. It is what it is. So you have to be aware of that. In real cultures, the woman is focused on her man. That's why I always say I don't understand why a lot of you brothers come on the internet and you go back and forth with these women that you don't know, who you're not getting ass from. A lot of times we have to learn how to separate that. Now, every once in a while, I'll engage with some of the females that come on my channel because sometimes they have sincere questions. But I always try to accentuate that the channel is geared towards the men because the man is the head. And a lot of times the so-called black man does a very poor job himself of accentuating that by giving the woman too much attention, especially too much negative attention. A lot of you guys like to argue with women. When the woman sees that you're willing to argue with her about nonsense, the only thing that she's going to see is that you're at her level. Okay? So if you're going to engage with the woman, make sure that it's worth your time and worth your while. In other words, you should be getting ass from the woman. And I say that a lot. Certain people might think that I'm being crass. I'm not trying to be crass. But once again, if the woman is not giving you vagina, why are you having these long conversations with them for? They should be talking to their man. Right? Go speak to your man. That's how you build that relationship with him. You ask him serious questions. Now, if your man don't know shit, then that's a problem. But once again, that's how we change the paradigm over to the woman gravitating towards men of knowledge as opposed to male caricatures, what they call thugs in this society. All a thug is a cartoon character, a caricature. That's all that is.
I ended up leaving my ex because he was a narcissist and stuff. And
now, she said that she left her ex because her ex was a narcissist. What does that really mean? That most likely means that her and her quote-unquote ex didn't work out because her ex would not allow her to walk all over him. He most likely had demands of her. Now, I'm not saying that maybe he was a bad guy. Maybe he was actually a narcissist, meaning a self-worshiper. Maybe he was, but I doubt it. Because the woman by nature in this society, the liberal woman, is a narcissist herself. So most likely she felt like she was not getting the amount of quote unquote attention as she wanted. Really the amount of obeisance from that man that she wanted. So she tried to flip the script and call him a narcissist when it was actually her. Because the vast majority of these females are narcissists. I seriously doubt, especially in this modern day time, that her former man was in her house asking her to worship him. I doubt that. But you know, it is what it is.
And so anyways, Reggie ended up calling me and we talking.
I called you.
You did call me, Reggie.
Right, but how did he get your phone number?
Me, Reggie.
Go ahead.
We started spending time together and then we eventually ended up dating.
Okay.
Dating, i.e. fucking. Because that's all dating is. Dating is just fucking. Instead of going to a prostitute and giving them the money directly, you know, you get sex in exchange for going out to the movies or going out to eat. That's the only difference.
How did that go? Stress. He's suing you, saying you stressed him out, but how did it go?
It was fine at first until I found out that he ain't really just be wanting to go to work and stuff like that.
Sure.
And
he didn't want to go to work.
Don't interrupt me when I'm talking, Reggie.
Now, did you see what she just did there? She said, do not interrupt me when I'm talking. Now, of course, they're in court, so she wants to bring forth her testimony. But one can tell that she has no respect for this man. Nor really should she. Because once again, brothers, if you cannot provide for yourself, the woman will not have respect for you. Okay, she will look at you with an impudent eye, meaning with a lack of respect. And there's nothing wrong with that. Once again, brothers, do not establish a serious relationship with a woman unless you have your own. You're only asking to be mocked, and deservedly so.
I can't interrupt the judge. All right, let her give her side. Tell me about the not going to work part.
You know, when he first came with me, you know, I thought that Reggie was just a laid back, because see, I'm always like on 10. I need a laid back man in my life if I'm going to have a man, but I can't seem to keep one.
No shit, most of y'all can't seem to keep a man. Kudos to you for being able to admit that you can't keep a man. Good for you. At least you have a certain level of self-awareness, which most of these modern liberal females do not have. But kudos to you for acknowledging that you cannot keep a man if your life depended on it. A lot of these modern females out here, I mean, shit, you can cover them with honey and have them date a bear, and they couldn't keep that bear because they're so obnoxious. Let me rewind this back.
Anyway, you know, when he first came with me, you know, I thought that Reggie was just a laid back, because see, I'm always like on 10.
In other words, you don't know how to shut the hell up, and you're obnoxious.
I need a laid back man in my life if I'm going to have a man, but I can't seem to keep one. But anyway.
Why do you think that you can't keep a man? According to his testimony, you have your own house under surveillance, and you flirt with your boyfriend's friends and your pastor. So no wonder. But you know what? That's just liberal woman 101. That's why I say, brothers, don't waste your time trying to change or alter a lot of these females when you see that they're bent towards liberalism, meaning the embracing of their whore altar, right? Like the mother goddess, she has the warrior goddess altar, she has the mother goddess altar, and she has the sex goddess altar, known as Aphrodite or Venus, the sex goddess. A lot of these females, they embrace that. Once you see that, now you know she's either a concubine or a cast-off. It's up to you.
You know, he was laid back. I thought he went to work every day. Well, no. He was like, oh, well, you know
you all move in together or something?
Yeah.
You observed him not wanting to go to work? Did you ask him? And if so, what was he saying?
He always want to beat around the bush. Oh, well, I got this job. Then his homeboy tell him about another job. And he going to quit that job and go to this job. And then he calling out. Don't interrupt me. I got cameras. And he be acting like he at work. And I see him outside.
Cameras. That's wrong.
That's my life.
That is out the work. Don't even try it.
No, you a lie. The truth ain't in you. Because
Hold on. You said... Your Honor, you hidden cameras in the house. And he would tell you he's going to work. And you looking right here there at the house and he playing video games.
He acting like I'm trying to be his mama.
That's exactly my point. Now, did you brothers hear that? She stated that he was acting like she was trying to be his mother. In all reality, that's the role that he was casting for himself as the mama's boy. Once again, if you're going to establish a serious relationship with the woman, you have to have your own. Bottom line. Like a lot of people come on my channel and they flip out when I state that a man can have more than one woman. Every person that reads and truly understands the scriptures and understands what it means to be the head knows that. The problem is that a lot of these dudes are just females trapped in a man's body. But in order to have even one woman, you better be able to provide for yourself. Because what that is going to do is that's going to create that aspect within your mind of being an administrator. You have to be able to be an administrator and an authoritarian over yourself and over your own estate before you can increase your estate by adding another person and then another person if that's something that you want to do. Because most of these females are not wife material. So if you have one or more than one concubine, it's not that big a deal. Believe me, most of these females have more than one man. I've stated that already. But everything that we do in life, we have to do responsibly. That's the point. So if you don't have a real job, do not have a real woman. And when I say a real woman, I mean an attempt at a serious relationship. It's very important because you create these negative dynamics within your own life.
She got cameras inside the house and outside the house.
Well, if you knew that, why wouldn't you go to work, sir? Or tell her you weren't at work if you knew the cameras were going to see you
I
there.
did go to work, Your Honor. She... stress.
You see?
No, so you created your own stress. That's another thing. A lot of brothers, they like to complain about stress and how much the liberal woman or quote unquote these black women are harassing them and giving them a hard time. Well, if you know their nature, it's you that has to adapt. We have to adapt to what's going on around us. We cannot always ask these other demographics, these other groups to adapt to us. Especially being a so-called black man, you're considered at the bottom of the totem pole in this society. That's a fact. So people are not going to adapt to an entity that has little power. They adapt to power. Okay? Why do people dress how they do in this society? Because of what's stipulated by the people at the top of the totem pole. Why do they act how they act? Because of what is stipulated by the people at the top of the totem pole, not at the bottom. It does not work that way.
Like, Your Honor.
That's all he
Now, I ain't got no reason to lie about going to work.
That's what he do
Your
right
Honor,
there.
she would call me and be like, what time you get home? I'd be like, 9, 10. She's like, no, you got home at 9:15. Like, are you serious? So, like, she won't even talk to me for 2 or 3 days because I come in 5 minutes. I guess because I didn't say the right time. You know what I'm saying?
And that starts to happen to a lot of these males in these relationships with these females. They've cast themselves as a little boy, so that's how the woman would treat you. Brothers, when you're in a so-called relationship with a female and she tries to play those games where she's marginalizing you, you have to analyze why that is. Are you allowing that? Everything that happens to us in life is what we allow. When a female starts to feel comfortable to believe that she can go 2, 3, 4, 5 days without speaking to you, she's showing you that she has no respect for your manhood. That's the sign of a liberal woman. The liberal woman does not respect the masculine principle. So once you've established that, you have to ask yourself, am I respecting my own manhood? Am I disrespecting my own manhood and therefore giving her the signal to do the same? That's what you have to be concerned with. Because once we start to respect our own manhood, then it's far easier to discern if the person that we're associating with is someone that has a total lack of respect for the masculine principle, or do they just have a lack of respect for you because of how you're conducting yourself? So that's why it's always incumbent upon us to make sure that we have our shit together.
I'm saying?
Cause you lied. He's supposed to be
I
at work.
object, y'all.
Then he say, let me call you right back. This my boss. And then I go through his phone, and his boss was like, Reg, I hadn't heard from you. Do you still want to work?
Your Honor, she talking about the other job, Your Honor. She ain't talking about...
What other job, brother? Knock it off. What, you got 2 jobs as a janitor? Give me a fucking break.
Talking about...
Every job. She said you
But tell them how you lost that job, though. Go ahead.
Oh, because my ex called up to the job. She called up to the job on me and said some stuff on me.
He said she had hidden cameras.
You ever notice a lot of these clown type dudes, they always have the same issues with woman after woman after woman after woman, and they're unable to realize that, number one, they're not living their life in a way that's respectful to themselves, and number two, because they don't respect themselves, they're picking females and they're allowing themselves to be associated with females that are never going to respect them. And because of the fact, once again, that they don't respect themselves, it's very difficult to determine, does this female have a lack of respect for me because she just does not respect men, or is she someone who's still dealing with an issue from her childhood or from her past, or am I just not up to par? See, when we don't have a conscious understanding of what we're doing and why we're doing it, it brings all these different doubts into our mind, and it creates these problems that really should not exist. Life is very, very simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple.
That's what it was. The ex I was talking to before her called the job and I lost the job.
Your ex called and said something
She got
negative
mad
about
because
you.
I started talking to her.
And called and said something negative about you.
Yes,
that
sir.
hurt your
And
job.
she done the same thing too.
Who?
You called the job
I ain't never
out.
got no job. I wanted you to work. I wanted my money.
So you didn't call my job looking for me?
I didn't call
Did
your
you
job.
call my job looking for me?
I
and then you hung
called your
the phone
manager
up?
to see why he wasn't giving you overtime because you claimed he wasn't giving you
Why?
overtime.
Really, the main reason why all this is going on is because the dude was trying to live off this broad. That's very, very, very apparent. Once again, brothers, do not try to live off the woman. That's why I have that series, You Never Let a Woman Maintain You. You never do that.
I wanted to see, because they told you if you quit your
That's my
second
emotional
job,
stress, y'all.
wait a minute, because see,
Now, he said that's his emotional distress. No, sir. That's the distress that you created within yourself.
you lied. No, what happened was, you couldn't telling me, oh, my boss said if I quit my other job, then they gonna give me overtime. You started working less than you was before you quit your second job.
Why don't
So
you
I
have
need
any
to see-
money?
Because she got it all, young.
You were taking his money?
Yeah, the whole
Three
chick.
times your what?
The whole
You
chick.
gotta pay bills. You ain't finna live up in my house for free. What you gonna what my kids gonna see? What kind of example are you gonna be just laying around playing the Xbox?
All right, so you-
I agree with that. And there's a lot of these Xbox, WWE watching ass niggas out here. They come on my channel all the time, trying to act as if they have the mental faculties to have a serious conversation. Those are usually the dumbass niggas that tell me about how God and Satan and all this don't exist. And I click on their channel and they have a whole bunch of clips from Xbox and from wrestling and some shit. A lot of these guys out here clowns, man.
So you want to continue to give me the background from your perspective, and then we'll get into the details of
Yes,
why
sir.
she's
Tell them how
suing
you
you.
cheat.
Yes, sir. We had a good relationship, y'all. Until the nagging and the cheating come.
Who?
She was accusing me of cheating. And look, I looked at her phone. She was texting the preacher. Her and the preacher had a good conversation. Even
Hey, brothers, I said this a long time ago, many, many videos ago. You have to understand something. Knowledge is an aphrodisiac. It really is. Knowledge and wisdom is an aphrodisiac because the woman in her DNA wants to be led. Now, she can be led in various directions. It's just a matter of who's in power. But the woman is always going to be led. She's never going to be a leader. And certain people might be offended by that. It is what it is. The woman is going to be led by whoever's in power. If the people that are in power are delivering certain messages, like a woman can lead, then she's going to say, yes, I can lead. But it's only going to be based off of what she's instructed. That's it. So this is why you'll see that so many of these females, when they go to church, they end up sleeping with the pastor. Because the pastor, once again, represents a fountain of wisdom in their mind. In the mind of many of these women, they see the pastor and he's knowledgeable about God, supposedly, allegedly. Because that's just the nature of the woman. She's a follower and she's a groupie. She's a fan by nature. I'm not saying that to be dismissive or anything like that. It's just the truth. So that's why it's incumbent upon a so-called black man to raise his level of understanding so that you could teach your woman. Your woman's not supposed to be going to the next man to learn about the scriptures. She's supposed to be going to you. She's not supposed to be going to the next man to learn about life. She's supposed to be going to you. Okay? That's what that's about. And there's a lot of fuckery that goes on in these churches and in these temples and in these camps and in these groups with men trying to take the knowledge that they act like they have and use it to manipulate a lot of these silly women, as Paul calls them, laden with diverse lusts. But once again, you brothers, once you get on your knowledge game, that's how you develop a deeper rapport with your woman. That's what it's about, man.
Even her and her ex. Now, what preacher in the world say beautiful in every conversation they ended on text? Beautiful, keep looking beautiful, keep looking beautiful. And she replied to it, so that's cheating.
But what did I say? I wasn't cheating.
What you replying back?
That preach first of all, I was talking to that 21-year-old preacher before your time.
What you replying back? How you doing? I wish I could see you again. I miss you.
Ooh.
She missed the teachings.
How this man gonna teach? How you can't teach that saying beautiful every time?
I am beautiful.
Sure he can, because he's trying to tap that ass. He was trying to break down that scripture on being fruitful and multiplying.
I'm beautiful.
I wanted to go to church. Now, I ain't say you would, but I wanted to go to church to see the preacher myself.
Now you ain't gonna mess with the preacher now.
See, you see her defending the preacher?
He
So what that saying?
That said that she wants him to lay hands on her. That's what that's saying. She wants his rod and staff to comfort her.
Saying.
That means she likes to preach over you.
Thank you. My point exactly. My point exactly.
Tell me why you're suing, ma'am. Tell this 2,890. What contract did he breach?
Okay, from April to March, I paid for basically an SUV for him. He was claiming he was going to work and he was gonna pay me my money back when he got his first job.
Quiet, sir. Go ahead.
That was a gift. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Once he, got his first paycheck, he was gonna pay me back. When we was walking in the dealership, I said, okay, if I'm gonna put this down for you, you gonna give me my money back. Well, once again, he kept giving me the runaround saying, oh, well, they didn't pay, my check ain't this much, it's this much, it ain't that much, it's this much. So then I ended up paying like a couple of notes, so I was like, no. And then he cheated. He was cheating. And so when I found, because my ex catfish.
Yes,
You know what catfish?
Where you get that from?
catfish is when you pretending to be
How you
someone
know that's
else.
me?
She was pretending to be a
Your
female
friend.
online. And Reggie,
Her ex, she was texting.
that was my ex, that was the ex that I
Yeah, this is something to think about.
No, he
So in other words, brothers, the plaintiff here is a bisexual because she had her ex catfish the defendant. In other words, she had her ex, who was a woman, get scantily clad and try to attract or seduce the defendant to prove that he was quote unquote cheating. That's another way that you know that you're dealing with a liberal woman. Like, for example, I had a brother jump in my comments and ask me if I could do a video about why so many of these modern day females like to hang out with homosexuals and things of that nature. It's not really about liking to hang out with homosexuals. It's that the modern day liberal female sees a kindred spirit in the homosexual, the lesbian, and the transgender, and that they're all out for the same goal, that being the destruction of male hegemony, i.e. order, because all three of those movements are actually about the promotion of chaos. Feminism, the homosexual movement, transgenderism, it's all about the promotion of chaos, i.e. Marxism, i.e. Luciferianism. That's what they're actually about. So they're all kindred spirits. They're all branches on the same tree. So you'll oftentimes find that many of these modern so-called liberal females, they'll dabble in being quote unquote bisexual, really pansexuality. They have what they claim is fluid sexuality. They don't want a term put on their sexuality. If they feel like dealing with a man, they'll deal with a man. If they feel like dealing with a female, they'll deal with a female. Soon it'll be if they feel like dealing with somebody who's underage, they'll do that. If they feel like dealing with a sex toy, a sex robot, like they have now, a sex android, whatever they call it, they'll deal with that. That's why they're trying to market a lot of those so-called quote-unquote lifelike sex dolls to men. Because they know they've pretty much destroyed the modern-day woman. So they feel like there's a market now for men who just want to have sex with a woman and not want to be bothered by her feminist ramblings. All right, so that's the method to their madness in regards to that. But once again, this person here, the plaintiff, had her ex, who was a woman, catfish the defendant or try to seduce the defendant online to prove that he's a cheater.
No, he said, you are beautiful. Oh, and I got
Same thing you claim to preach.
Now you see that? This is the plaintiff's ex right here, who's a female.
You so beautiful.
I got a whole lot of messages where they was going back and forth. A lot of them, yeah. Sure did.
I don't know who that is.
All right, so as a result, what did that have to do with your contract?
I knew I was finna break up with him, so I was like, okay, well, this is what I need you to sign a promissory note. And because I want my money back, you agreed from day one that you was going to pay me my money back.
When he last asked for your money, what has he said?
He said that he was going to sign a promissory note and that he was going to pay me back. I also have text messages.
Okay. Sir, what do you say to this?
And this is the promissory
Sir,
note.
she come up to the job with the promissory note. Like a bull,
Smart lady.
mad, talking out loud. My employees laughing at me and stuff.
You deserve to get laughed at. Nigga, just get a woman back her money. You know, a lot of times, brothers, the best way to provide closure to a bad chapter in your life is to make sure that all your ends are tied up. And you do that by making sure that you do right by people, even if you don't like them. Because that creates better energy for you for the future.
She come up
So
there.
am I.
somebody,
So is
gonna-
everybody
so
in
I
here.
just signed it so she'll leave. And so I can finish my shift.
But watch this, though. Watch this. He knew I was on my way. The text messages show you when I was telling him that I was on my way, he asked me to bring him something to eat.
I was
Oh, my
busy.
God.
I was busy at work.
Now,
so I
you said,
okay.
I said I'm on my, you said okay, baby, and everything, and you asked me to bring you
I
something.
didn't read that part there. You said you was on your way. You said she said she was on
Wait a
her
minute,
way,
wait a
Judge.
minute. See, you
She said
try
she was
to
on her
overtalk
way,
because
so
you
I
know
said bring me something.
All this empty expending of energy when he could just resolve the issue. People know when they're wrong in life. Brothers, we know when we're wrong. When you're wrong, just say it, repay or reimburse the person, and move forward. I guarantee you it will create better energy than trying to haggle over money or anything that you know that you owe somebody.
Bring me something to eat.
Yeah, so she didn't do
Yeah, I put him
wrong.
a cold hot dog and a
You
hot
what?
dog bun and a white bed.
You were welcoming her to your
That's
workplace.
emotional distress coming to the job like that.
No, you welcomed her to your job. You could have said, no, don't come. That's not appropriate. Instead, you said, okay, well, bring me something to eat, baby. Why don't you think you should have to pay then otherwise?
Because it was a gift. We was together.
That ain't no gift in that.
Did you drive the truck?
Too. Well,
Did you drive the truck?
I had to put gas in it because you ain't had no money to put no gas in it.
What's your emotional distress?
Coming to the job.
Well, you welcomed her because you need to know where your money is going, and if you decide to leave, there will be no discrepancy. Remember, I explained this to you Friday morning. You were okay with it. I don't want it to be considered a gift. Plus, this will help you with stepping up as you promised. Sir?
This was set up, Judge, because
Yeah.
she broke up with me 2 days after I signed it. So
That wasn't a setup. That was her way of saying that she was done with you. If you're laying on another person's couch and you're a grown-ass man, how long do you think that quote-unquote relationship is going to last? Once again, brothers, especially a lot of you brothers out there that listen to these videos 16, 17, 18 years old, do not establish a serious relationship with a female until you have your own shit in order. I'm not saying don't go out on dates or what have you. You know, you take your little shorty to McDonald's or whatever. But I'm talking about serious, and certainly do not get them pregnant if you don't have your shit together. Because you're only bringing a lot of negative energy into your life. You're going to bring a lot of chaotic energy into your life. As you can see here, this dude's a grown-ass man. Look like he's 40 years old. Still doing dumb shit, laying on the couch all day, expecting a woman to provide for him, a liberal black woman. So this is chaos on top of chaos. This is the average relationship with two dysfunctional people. A liberal black woman and a liberal black man, i.e. a mama's boy / simp.
what that tell you?
Now,
That tells you that she was, as she said, she was concerned that since she had caught you cheating, that you might not be sincere or may not be around much longer.
I
so
was
that's
concerned
why she
for the
asked you.
stress.
That's why she had you sign this, and that's why you're going to have to pay her, sir. $2,890. Your claim is dismissed. No emotional distress. I get that for all this yelling I had to listen to.
Right.
I don't blame you, sir, having to listen to all that dumb shit.
So that part is mine.
I don't get
and
no
then
money.
She gets hers. You get nothing.
I don't get no
$2,890 for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Y'all.
Judgment for the plaintiff. Your claim is dismissed.
And hey, brothers, that's what's going to happen to you when you allow yourself to be subjected to relationships and nonsensical energy when we don't prepare ourselves properly for what's out here.
Well, it was fun while it lasted, Reggie.
Grab a hug. I'm suing you for that. I'm killing Judge Mathis.
So that's basically it on that, brothers. As we can see, the liberal black woman won as she should have won. As I tell you, brothers, all the time, I do not feel sorry for a lot of these simps when they lose these court cases or when these things happen to them. A lot of these guys are the same guys that want to threaten other men for telling them the truth or talk about what they're going to do or trying to regurgitate a lot of the same nonsense that they've heard from their matriarchal backgrounds. And then they get caught up in this stuff and all of a sudden they want to talk about how they're MGTOW now. That's why I tell you, brothers, MGTOW is just an ideology for simps that got their hearts broke. It is what it is. I'm sure that certain people might not like that. But the importance is that you be forewarned so that you don't have to end up being somebody who learns through experience. Because when you have to learn through experience, that's the most effective way to learn, but that's the worst way to learn. All right? We have to open up our three-dimensional thinking so that we can see certain things happening before they happen and utilize preventative measures. Once again, none of us are perfect. We're all going to get caught up in shit. We have to learn from it and do better to the best of our abilities. That's what it's about. But anyway, peace.